Okay, meeting for August 19th will come to order, please. Roll call.
Commissioner Abraham.
Present.
Commissioner Galt. Present. Commissioner Rhodes.
Here.
Commissioner Wilson.
Present.
Mayor Kaler.
Present. Commissioner Wilson, could you do the Pledge of Allegiance tonight?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to its republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions or deletions? City Manager? Okay. We'll go into ordinances adoptions. Commissioner Abraham, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a service agreement with Motorola for the fiscal year 2014 and 2015. This ordinance is summarized as follows. That the mayor is hereby authorized to execute a service agreement with Motorola for yearly maintenance of the 800 megahertz radio controllers, individual department radios, Paducah McCracken County 911 dispatch consoles, telephones, and other related radio equipment in the amount of $52,583.52. This contract shall expire June 30th, 2015.
Second.
Any questions? We have discussed all of these. City Clerk, please.
Commissioner Abraham.
Aye.
Commissioner Galt. Aye. Commissioner Rhodes.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Mayor Kaler.
Aye. Commissioner Galt, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the Finance Director to make payment to Kentucky Waterways Alliance, KWA, Kentucky Aquatic Resources Fund, in order to comply with the terms and conditions associated with the Riverfront Development Project biological opinion issued by the United States Department of the Interior Fish and Wildlife Service, Kentucky Ecological Services Field Office. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The Finance Director of the City of Paducah is hereby authorized to pay the Kentucky Waterways Alliance, Kentucky Aquatic Resources Fund, the amount of $135,706 to comply with the terms and conditions associated with the Riverfront Development Project biological opinion issued by the United States Department of Interior Fish and Wildlife Service, Kentucky Ecological Services Field Office.
Second.
Any questions?
No
City
question.
Clerk, please.
Commissioner Abraham.
Aye.
Commissioner Galt.
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Mayor Kaler.
Aye. Commissioner Rhodes, please.
Do I get to protest? Why do I have to buy dumpsters? I deal in waste and trash.
It's our most profitable enterprise.
Okay. All right.
There's gold in the trash.
There's gold in the trash. I thought maybe there was a political statement. No. I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of dumpsters, lids, and fittings for fiscal 2014-2015 for utilization by commercial businesses within the City of Paducah and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for same. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the City of Paducah authorizes the Finance Director to pay an amount not to exceed $70,000 for fiscal year 2014-2015 to Municipal Equipment Incorporated for the purchase of various sized dumpsters, lids, and additional fittings for the Solid Waste Division of Engineering Public Works.
Second.
Questions? City Clerk, please.
Commissioner Abraham.
Aye.
Commissioner Galt.
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Mayor Kaler.
Aye. Commissioner Wilson, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance ratifying the mayor's execution of a 2014-2015 Kentucky Governor's Highway Safety Program reimbursement grant award with the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, a division of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the City of Paducah hereby ratifies the mayor's execution of a 2014-2015 Kentucky Governor's Highway Safety Program reimbursement grant award with the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, a division of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, in the amount of $39,770 for overtime hours associated with saturation patrols, including fuel cost. This program does not require any local cash or in-kind match.
Seconded.
Any questions? City Clerk, please.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kayler.
Aye. Commissioner Abraham, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance ratifying and approving the mayor's execution of the 2014-2015 Kentucky Governor's Highway Safety Program Reimbursement Grant Award with the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, a division of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. This ordinance is summarized as follows: that the City of Paducah hereby ratifies and approves the mayor's execution of a grant agreement and all documents relating thereto for a 2014-2015 Kentucky Governor Highway Safety Program Reimbursement Grant Award with the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, a division of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, in the amount of $40,000 for support of the Heads Up Don't Be Intoxicated program for 12 months beginning October 2014, and to be implemented and distracted drivers prevention program. This grant award does not require any local cash or in-kind match.
Second.
And that was a powerful presentation, Chief Barnhill, last Wednesday at Rotary. Any questions?
That's an excellent program.
City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kayler.
Aye.
Just before we move on, just something happened today. We're at school, and everybody is they got their cell phone right there all the time. And I'm sitting next to this. It's about 10 minutes before the class is over, and everything had wrapped up pretty much. I'm watching this kid, and he's got his hands all over his cell phone. I said, I'll bet you a Mountain Dew that you cannot place that cell phone right there on your desk and put your hands right there. I bet you can't go 10 minutes without touching it. Well, this kid went from, he tried to sit on his hands. No, you can't sit on your hands. You got to have your hands right here. You would think he was going through withdrawal. I was like, you might need some intervention there, son. You might have to talk to somebody about that. Which goes to what's going on when they're driving. It's the same thing. So it's not just kids. Don't get me wrong. It's not just young adults. It's some of us older ones too. But it's a great program, Chief. Keep it up.
Commissioner Galt, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, authorizing a waiver and consent by real property owner among the City of Paducah, Kentucky, the County of McCracken, Kentucky, and Wells Fargo Bank, National Association with respect to personal property of Genova Products, Inc., located in the leased premises commonly known as 5400 Commerce Drive, Paducah, Kentucky. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance authorizes the City of Paducah, Kentucky, the city, to approve a waiver and consent by real property owner among the City of Paducah, Kentucky, the city, the County of McCracken, Kentucky County, and Wells Fargo Bank National Association lender in order for Genova Products, Inc. tenant to obtain a loan from lender to finance the purchase of equipment for tenants' facilities located at 5400 Commerce Drive, Paducah, Kentucky. This ordinance approves the form of the waiver and consent presented to the Board of Commissioners of the city with such changes therein as shall not be adverse to the city and may be approved by the mayor and city manager.
Second.
Any questions? City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kayler.
Aye. We'll go on to our ordinance's introduction. Commissioner Rhodes, please.
Okay. I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance accepting grant funds through the Kentucky Heritage Council State Historic Preservation Office and National Park Service to be used to host a training event that includes the commission assistance, mentoring program, and authorizing the mayor to execute said grant agreement and all documents relating to same. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the City of Paducah hereby accepts grant funds in the amount of $6,300 from Kentucky Heritage Council State Historic Preservation Office, and National Park Service for a certified local government program grant to be used to host a training event that includes the Commission Assistance and Mentoring Program. This grant requires either a local cash match or in-kind services in the amount of $4,200. The city will provide a cash match, which will be appropriated in the city's Planning Department 2015 budget.
Second.
Good evening. This conference is on October 23rd through the 25th. We should have 100 to 140 people attending from across the state to talk about preservation and our downtown. Also, the $4,200 cash match, hopefully we can get a majority of that back, as we're asking for a registration fee of $35, so we'll be getting quite a bit of that back. So,
Okay, very good.
Plus, you won't be, some of these folks, like the Board of Adjustments, will be traveling to somewhere else for the meeting, right?
I'm sorry, one more
You'll
time.
save because some of our people will not be
That's correct, yes.
somewhere else for a meeting.
Be letting them spend their money here.
So Johanna doesn't have to travel as far.
Just walk down the road.
That's it.
Okay, Commissioner Wilson, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance approving the final report of the Paducah Planning Commission on the proposed zoning change from R2 low and medium density residential zone to R4 high density residential zone for property located at 1139 and 1179 Lone Oak Road and 1121 Sanders Avenue, and amending the Paducah zoning ordinance so as to effect such rezoning. This ordinance is summarized as follows. Rezone property located at 1139 and 1179 Lone Oak Road and 1121 Sanders Avenue from R2 low and medium density residential zone to R4 high density residential zone, and amending the Paducah zoning ordinance to effect such rezoning.
Second.
The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on this in compliance with KRS 100. They did make a positive recommendation to the City Commission. This is for West Kentucky Kidney Specialists. It's across from Highland Boulevard on Lone Oak Road. There's approximately 20,000 square feet proposed. You'll also see the intersection with Lone Oak Road and Highland Boulevard. The previous applicant submitted a traffic plan to the State Highway Department, and that has already been reviewed.
Okay. Any questions? Commissioner Abraham, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance approving the final report of the Paducah Planning Commission on the proposed zoning change from R1 low-density residential zone to MU mixed-use zone for property located at 2711 New Holt Road, and amending the Paducah zoning ordinance so as to effect such rezoning. This ordinance is summarized as follows. Rezone property located at 2711 New Holt Road from R1 low-density residential zone to MU mixed-use zone, and amending the Paducah zoning ordinance to effect such rezoning.
Second.
The Planning Commission held a public hearing on this one also and made a positive recommendation based on it being in compliance with the future land use plan. This is a proposed location for Independence Bank. This is the second part. If you remember, this came before the City Commission already with an intent to annex ordinance. Right after this, we'll have a final annexation ordinance as an introduction also.
Okay. Commissioner Galt, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance extending the boundary of the City of Paducah, Kentucky by finalizing the annexation of certain property lying adjacent to the corporate limits of the City of Paducah and defining accurately the boundary of said property to be included within the said corporate limits. This ordinance is summarized as follows. Approving final annexation of tract property contiguous to the present city limits located at 2711 New Holt Road containing 0.7972 acres more or less.
Second.
Same parcel?
And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
No, it's all good.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
City Manager's report.
I'd like Pam Spencer to come forward and share with you and the public a new site in Paducah as of today. want to dim the lights, so. Please.
I don't know if Mark Thompson wanted to talk about it. This picture was taken this morning by Mark Thompson. This is the duck house on the extended Duck Island.
Well, actually, we found out a couple of items on this even today. I was going back through the Kentucky Digital Archives, and that's not named Duck Island on those things. It's actually called Maury Island on the archives, and it's Mouhry, Maury Island. Don't know where it came from. If somebody knows where that came from, we'd love to hear from them, and they can put it on the Facebook or anything, let us know what they found out. But the house was finished this past week, and it was completed by the Boy Scout troop, and Sam Kern was the explorer that led the project, and they really did a terrific job on it. They stripped down all the old plaster off of it and redid the whole thing, and it looks fresh and new, and they did a terrific job on it. The park's maintenance staff put together the windmill, and it operates. It actually spins and goes with the wind and that sort of thing. So I guess a few minutes ago it was really blowing. So, but it's all anchored down and all doing well. But the other interesting thing today, I was going to get my daughter's car taken care of at Paducah Radiator. And a longtime friend, David Langston, is a proprietor there, and he said, and we were talking a little bit about this, and talking about it being a WPA project, and David stopped me and said, "I've got something that you might want to take a look at." And he says, "I don't know where my father got it, but we were going through some of his things, and we found this." And this is a bronze plaque that said, "Constructed in cooperation with the Works Progress Administration in Kentucky, 1938," which is the circa of all of this work that was done in Noble Park, including the island, including the original amphitheater, including the swimming pool and the bathhouse. So, coinky dinks.
That's pretty. That's pretty nice.
We're fortunate that didn't go into a radiator rebuild some point along the way.
Pretty nice.
He only charged me $130 for this today. So
What do you plan on doing with it?
we're going to mount it in an appropriate location, the bathhouse or somewhere in one of these locations. That'll be because that's what led me to go through the digital library to find out the other information. Was this, because I wanted to make sure it matched up to 1938, and certainly all of it does.
Spell the M-O-U.
H-R-Y.
M-O-U-H-R-Y.
So if anybody has anything, post it on Facebook, let us know, and just the origin of that. So it's on the Kentucky Digital Library, and people are more than welcome to take a look at that. So
I'd like to point out for the Commission's information that this now, the way it is constructed with the collar going all the way up to above where the surface of the water will be, and with a rock base, that this island now is virtually maintenance-free going forward, which is a big plus. There may occasionally have to be something done to clean the rock and control noxious vegetation out there, but we shouldn't have to be concerned about this for some time down the road.
absolutely.
I did see a posting on Facebook today. Somebody asked why the duck house was smaller. That is the same duck house that we took off a few months ago and put in storage.
The island's
remember,
bigger.
It was sitting on such a tiny piece of earth that had eroded away around it. It just looks small on the Duck Island with the new collar around it.
And the island looks larger because the water is not at its normal elevation.
And the
at this
water
point.
will be raised back up.
So you'll see about 6 inches of collar when the water is back to elevation.
And I want to mention again that once we discovered the collar that was in place, that the money that had previously been allocated in this construction project to essentially demolish the island down to the surface below the water was redirected into the reconstruction of the island. So there was not additional resources spent to do this over and above what had been contracted for, to essentially do away with the island. Of course, we were going to come back with a floating island concept, but of course that's been rendered unnecessary at this point, unless we want a second. I haven't heard that suggestion yet.
What's the completion date now of the project?
They had 90 days to do the whole project, so we're still a ways away. The wall is, you can see a lot of the steel wall. They're getting ready. They're making forms for the concrete, the sidewalk in that area right now.
Good.
It's progressing nicely.
It's heavy.
No, the ducks cannot get in the house.
They never could get in the house.
Never could. They never could.
They never could. There is a mesh over the openings to the house.
But they carry ducks. They carry their houses on their back, so they're okay.
Thanks, Mark and Pam. I want to mention that with Jeff Speck's recent visit to town, that at the staff level we're going to be meeting Friday to take a look at the recommendations that were made by Mr. Speck and some of the thoughts that we had for a while, particularly on some of the street realignments, with an eye towards putting a agenda together for a workshop on some of those topics, hopefully 2 weeks from tonight. So we want to bring those back for your scrutiny, or at least some of those items while they're still fresh in our minds and in the public's minds. Last thing I have is a request for executive session on both personnel and economic development.
Okay, I move the board to go into a closed session for discussion of matters pertaining to the following topics: issues which might lead to an employment dismissal or discipline of an employee as permitted by KRS 61-810-1F, a specific proposal by a business entity where public discussion of the subject matter would jeopardize the location, retention, expansion, or upgrading of a business entity as permitted by KRS 61-810-1G.
Second.
Okay, City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. We will not be coming back to make any decisions tonight, so meeting's adjourned.
Okay.
Lament that's made, a prayer that's prayed, some